and just go to sleep. It's over. It's over. This man is you know, Zoe had him in his list. Armand had him as his number one. I think he gets the group. You know, the fact that he's in the group he got with Prodigy got. You know, like and Guru. You know, they didn't get their ultimate props. And Q-Tip and Phife. Q-Tip and Phife are two top 5 MCs in one group. They didn't get the love because they was in a group. And Black Thought has the same thing, unfortunately. But you know, being from Philly, I think he embodies like that soul and that grittiness at the same time. You know, the soul with the live band, and then the grittiness of his bars. And he's always, you know, filling them with content. So Black Thought is my number 3. His shit never gets old. I mean, it's a honor, you know, to have him from the city I'm from. You know, honestly, man, and be able to play his music. And he always shouts out Philly. I get goosebumps every time I hear him shout out 215. You know, so peace to the roots. Black Thought, Fifth Dynamite, number 3.
Alright, given that I forgot Pac and Biggie were supposed to be excluded from the list, my top 3 would technically.
Sorry.
No, you good. So that would mean.
Busy Bone?
I would no, not Busy Bone. You know,
Busy Bone, and Busy Bone.
Well, if we're doing groups, it's a whole different.
Those like that.
So I had 5 at What did I have at 5? I don't remember.
Should have wrote it down.
No, I had Cube as 5. And I thought
you had Ice Cube.
Yeah, thank you.
Ice Cube was your 5.
And you should have read the text like I did.
Shut your mouth, Colombian.
You do a lot of nonsense things.
Listen.
Carry on.
Shut your mouth, Colombian.
Ray.
All right, so
Ray. You from Puerto Rico? You shouldn't be laughing, bro.
Listen.
Yo, I'm not from Colombia. That's why I'm laughing.
Time out. You Puerto Rican though. You struggling. Fall back.
Whoa. That's
Interracial. I can come at him.
I didn't hurricane like that. No, that's uncalled for. That's uncalled for. That's why you Messiah. That's why you were crucifixed at the end of that. So you relax now. Now let Alpha Omega talk.
That made no sense, but carry on. Alpha Omega.
That makes sense. You were crucified, right? You Messiah. You say you Messiah.
Number 3.
All right, so number 3. So knowing that Pac can't be in this list now because Pac was in my original list. So that's going to shift a couple things. So that means Q moves to 4, Black Thought moves to 3. So technically, I'm going to talk to my number 5 now because I essentially did 4 and 3.
Right.
Number 5 then. On that note. Ooh, and this is hard too because there's a lot of interchangeable pieces that can be at 5.
Really hard when you're doing it with nothing.
Well, listen. When you're the God, you don't need pen and pad. Okay, when you're the God, you don't need pen and pad. So number 5 is going to. I'm going to influence me as me becoming a man. Chuck D, Public Enemy, and then forget the group because Chuck D was Public Enemy when you really think about it. He was the main rapper in Public Enemy. So when I think of social conscious hip hop, when I think of rebel based hip hop, that was what kind of got me into the music, got me into the culture itself was Cube and Public Enemy. You know what I mean? And so more than anybody else. Everybody else is more so okay. They're complimented, but if we're talking about hardcore, conscious, social hip hop, it was Cube and Public Enemy. So. Knowing that now, I moved Cube to 4 and Black Thought to 3. Chuck D, Public Enemy is my number 5 spot. Just for the influence because you don't have social hip hop. You don't have Talib. You don't have Mos Def. You don't have a lot of these guys without Chuck D. Ultimately, at the end of the day, not the most lyrical person, but we're talking about influence and everything brought to the table. There's really not a lot of people you can put above Chuck D himself. Nation of Million, Hold Us Back, Pharaoh, Black Planet. You know, he just came out with an album with Be Real and Rage Against the Machine, Prophets of Rage. You know, not the best album, but given that same feel.
Like Chuck D already like.
What do you mean too late?
Like not too late, but what you're saying is like Chuck D already.
We're gonna let this breathe a little bit, man.
What it was, so like.
I don't think it was too late though. His message and his ideology is still needed today, though, especially in this climate. The rhythm, without pause, alone, my level. I can't remember the rest, but you know. We're talking about the 80s right here.
sound I made a year ago.
I guess you know, you guess I'm just a radical. Not on sabbatical, yes, to make it difficult. The only part of your body should be party at you. Have the power on the hour from the rebel.
Had the power on the hour for the rebel in you. Chuck D. Load up. All right, man.
Okay, number 3.
Elijah, number 3 for you. But Chuck D, man, like you said, like, yeah, Talib is a direct connection from Chuck D. All day. Most Def is on Ice Cube is from the Chuck D. Tupac is from the Chuck D family tree.
Especially when you, and it's funny because before I forgot the whole about Pac not being on the list. Because when people talk about Tupac, they talk about like All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli. But when you listen like Strictly for My Niggas album, especially, and I was listening to that exactly. I was listening to that about last week. That's a direct. He's a direct seed.
How can hear me is Public Enemy.
He's a direct seed from Public Enemy and Cube. That album, and he even got a song with Cube and Ice-T on that album, Last Call. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When I'm hearing Pac, like he's a seed of this.
Right.
You don't have Pac without Chuck D. You know what I mean? You don't have him.
All right. Elijah, number 3, bro.
All right. Tell you who I am.
So like honestly, this person could be number 1, and like you said, baby, if you had a video game, he would definitely be one of the dudes.
Right.
Just cause his imagination is just amazing. And you know, I like creators. You know, I like people that create with their mind and is not scared to venture out, especially being a black man in America. But my 3 is 3 Stacks. Woo! My 3 is 3 Stacks, and like, yo,
Outkast in the house.
Like, yo, man, his lyrically and just again the way how he breaks down his flow, like it's amazing. It's amazing because he don't follow same patterns like typically other rappers do. Like he's just great. Like, yo, I tell you one thing. What solidified him as one of my favorites is when I heard him on I'm Sorry with Tip. And you know, it's a newer song, came out like 2014, but like,
heavy.
Listen, he just did so much in it, and it was like, yo, man, I don't know where you've been all my life. And as soon as I found that out, I went back and did my research. And you know, Big Boy not whack either, but
yeah. And he could be another one. He could be another one that's in the top 5 for the last 10 years also.
Exactly.
You know, Andre 3000.
Yeah.
For sure. And the argument might even be more for him in the last 10 years than all time, to be honest, because of the group thing. He's been more like out of the group in the last 10 years.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
and the crazy thing is he don't get the respect that he deserves because he doesn't have a solo.
Right.
You might not ever get a solo from.
We don't need it though.
You don't need it because he has enough with Big Boy that complements it. Because you can't, you know, unless there is one, you can't have one without the other. You gotta enjoy for what it is, what we have right now. And 3 Stacks is amazing. It's simply amazing. Bro.
All right, so we on our dose. Number 2, Brian, we going to you. Bars.
Oh man, take it back to my childhood.
It's getting dark again.
When I was young boy,
Or light.
when I was in my teens, my older brother, he used to play him all the time. He used to rock with him all the time. You know what I mean? He used to keep it 100% for a certain reason.
Oh. No.
Big pun.
I knew 100%. Man, we gotta know. I gotta play that then. Gotta play 100%.
Listen, man.
Pun intended.
Outside, pun intended.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Listen, man, and I say it from a Hispanic male. Outside the culture of an African American, where rap originated from, it's good to hear somebody who's Hispanic. You know what I mean? It's good to hear somebody who represents the culture, who bring what it really is, and it's good to hear that when you out in the streets and you mention the word pun, yo, big pun. You know what I mean? They respect it. They understand, like, yo, big pun. Yeah. He bring it in. He rap, he go off beat, he show love. his music is still influential. It's still out there. People still talk about it. You can't knock it. He has to be in the top 5. If he's not in your top 5, you're wrong. You're dead wrong.
Biggie.
Don't care. You're dead wrong. Carry on.
No, I'm gonna piggyback off you because he's my number 2 as well.
Lorenzo, with all due respect, please carry on.
No, I'm gonna carry on. But here's the thing.
Well, we on 2s, yo.
No, he's my number 2 now.
Okay, all right.
Remember, he's my number 2. That's why I was saying piggyback off of that. So, I mean, here's one thing we have to understand about the hip hop as a culture. It's a black art form within the black umbrella, the Latinos are in that umbrella just because of the slave trade. So when you look at a lot of the music history, Puerto Ricans had a lot of influence of hip hop growing up and to this present. So I remember because my older cousin Jamil was the one that first put me on pun. You know, and our boy Kevin especially. So I remember our boy Kevin would come to me like, "Yo, man," because X was out. Everybody was on X's top at that point.
DMX.
So that was a given.
It's dark and how to stop.
Yeah. So, but our boy Kevin was like, "Yo, man, you gotta listen to this boy Pun, Puerto Rican boy. He's a monster on the bars." I'm like, I don't know. That wasn't nothing to be Puerto Rican, but I'm just thinking about Big Punisher. Like, what kind of name is Big Punisher? I remember hearing Beware. I remember I went word for Beware, at the Diamond D show, and I'm like, when I first heard Beware, I'm like, yo, this guy's a problem. You know what I mean? And when we're talking about wordplay, and I was a big Cool G Rap fan, so hearing Pun, it was like, say where I heard Rakim and Nas, it was like, here's the teachers and here's the students. I think I left the car. But here's the student surpassing the teacher. You know what I mean? So, granted, Pun only had 2 albums. Yeah. Granted, Pun only had 2 albums.
But he evolved past G-Rap.
G-Rap, in the same way how I'll say, like, so when we look about wordplay, the multi-syllables and everything like that, it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like I said, I put Pun over Biggie any day. You know what I mean? People be like, yo, you crazy for that. I'm like, I'm crazy because Biggie only had 2 albums too. You know what I mean? And Biggie to me was from the same cloth, like more like a Daddy Kane, in a sense. But like if we're going bar for bar in that era, I don't see how Big could surpass Pun in a battle.
Ray, we going with you after though.
But that's definitely my number 2. You know what I mean? Short time span, but he made the best out of his time. You know what I mean? Boricua. I mean.
There you go.
Ray was like, "You my friend for life."
Yeah. All right. Wait. So B, you said you want me to go next?
Yes, sir. And I'll be back in the car.
All right. So my number 2 is Jay-Z. I think he's had the most ideal commercial run that any rapper could honestly hope for, and things didn't really pop off for him until the 3rd album. But even with those first 2, for those of us who've been listening since the beginning, he was putting it down since day one, And even before those albums, he had to find himself a little bit because, like Nas said, you rhyme like Goose Nickens. But once Jay got on in '96, man, he just never looked back. I mean, he was, in his prime, not so much now, but in his prime, he was witty. He had the flow, which was just so unconventional, unpredictable, and it just added a rhythm to an already dope beat because of his beat selections, whether he was in his Reasonable Doubt era, his Blueprint era, or Black Album era, or Volume 2 era, because he switched up sounds. That was another way he stayed relevant and fresh. His flow just worked on every type of beat, from DJ Premier to Swiss Beats to Timbaland to just, it just always worked. Like you guys were saying earlier in the podcast, I know Brian was saying how on Blueprint 3, Jay was, kicking, some of the stuff that he was alluding, he kind of did on 444. I mean, he was getting in depth in those early albums too. Listen to Regrets on Reasonable Doubt. Listen to You Must Love Me on Volume 1. And, I just think he's just a complete MC, in his prime. He could battle you. He could out-rhyme you. He could outflow you. He could make top 40 hits, which, I always mention top 40, not because you have to have that to be great, but it doesn't hurt if you're good at it in a way where he was, where he brought rap. He brought pop culture to rap. He wasn't chasing pop culture in the sense that he was selling out to make his singles. Like, his singles still sounded very much like Jay-Z, but you knew it was going to work on the radio. You know, songs like Dirt Off Your Shoulder and